A disobedient child is worthy of death. First Bible lesson, Matthew chapter 19 verse 19. Honor thy father and thy mother, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Second Bible lesson, Luke chapter 2 verse 51. And he went down with them, and came to Nazareth, and was subject unto them, but his mother kept all these sayings in her heart. Golden text, Matthew chapter 15 verse 4. For God commanded, saying, Honor thy father and mother, and he that curseth father or mother, let him die the death. Brethren, that is our revelation this morning. Everybody should listen attentively, most especially children. Last Sunday, you were given a sermon concerning parents. You realized what actually causes problems for parents. Today, you are going to learn what causes trouble for you children. The 3 lessons will tell you what I have for you today. There are complaints children die, or they are not prosperous, or they are sick and poor. It is because of what you will hear this morning. This will show you, any person who rejects our Lord Jesus Christ and refuses to abide by his instructions has no life. All the sufferings of children, death, sickness, wretchedness, ill luck, arise not from parents but from the children themselves. Many children complain, their parents do not maintain them, educate them, feed and clothe them. They should not blame their parents but they should blame themselves for their failure to abide by the words of Christ, which says, children should obey their parents. The injunction to honor parents is not a man-made law or regulation made by parents, but the law of God. From the lesson, you will notice God says honor your father and mother. It does not say Moses says, but God says. The law states, any person who does not honor his father and his mother should die. Have children kept this injunction and lived according to the instruction? That is the problem affecting the whole world. The number of years you spend in a university learning cannot save you. Your position in life cannot save you either. You may be rich or poor, sick or healthy, you may be a stranger, none of these will help you. The only salvation is for a child to honor his father and mother. No matter how great or small you may be, if you do not honor your parents, you should pray fervently for yourself. The first duty small children should perform is to honor their parents. What does it mean to honor your parents? It is to obey them and abide by their instructions and pieces of advice. As a child, you have to do whatever your father tells you to do. You have no right to add or subtract. You can remember the story of Abraham and his son Isaac. God directed Abraham to give Isaac as a sacrifice. God instructed Abraham to go to a place he named and to offer Isaac as a sacrifice. The journey to the place of sacrifice took 3 days and 3 nights. Abraham instructed his son Isaac to gather materials for the sacrifice, and he traveled with him. Isaac obeyed his father and he did not ask him where they were going to. He followed his father to where the sacrifice was to take place. After the altar had been set up, Isaac asked his father where the sacrificial lamb was. After Isaac had set the altar and ignited the sacrificial flame, Abraham answered, God himself will provide the sacrificial lamb. Abraham then pounced on Isaac, held him by the neck, with the intent of cutting off his head. Isaac on his part, did not resist. It was because of disobedience, God provided Abraham with a sacrificial lamb. When the angel of God called unto him out of heaven, Abraham, lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him, for now I know, thou fearest God seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thy only son from me. I have never heard of any child who disobeyed his parents and was blessed by God or by his parents. There is no excuse or exemption from this law. If in the past you were disobedient to your parents, you have to take stock of your life and make amends by honoring and obeying your parents, and accepting their instructions implicitly. No child has any right to do what he likes, because, if you do what you like, you have disobeyed your parents, and you are worthy of death. 2 cocks cannot crow on the same roof. From the beginning of the world, this law was in existence. Children should be obedient to their parents. If you fail to abide by your father's instructions, even if you are angry with him, you are worthy of death. Children are tools for their parents and for the services of God, whether they gain or lose. Your duty, as a child, is to obey your parents, and submit to them. It is because of the disobedience of children many parents suffer, thereby inflicting double suffering on their parents. Parents are not mad, they are only offended by the insubordination of their children. Their anger is therefore not from them but from God. Reuben, the first son of Jacob, became intimate with his father's wife, and so he defiled his father's bed. Is that what a child should do to his father? For that reason Jacob cursed him that he would never prosper. Why was he cursed? It was because he did not honor his parents. If he had honored his father, he would not have been cursed. Jacob again cursed Simeon and Levite for their disobedience to him. This was so because Jacob had made peace with the man who committed fornication with his daughter, and he had pardoned him. But Simeon and Levite went behind and surreptitiously killed the man involved. For that reason, Jacob cursed them. The sword will never depart from their houses. He vowed, saying, my soul will have nothing to do with these persons, because they have disobeyed me. There is no young person who wants God's blessing but disobeys parents. You have to obey your father implicitly. Even if he tells you to put your hand into the fire, you have to obey him. Whatever your father commands you to do it so you will receive blessing from God. Now you want your father to bless you. Have you obeyed his instructions? No matter how you have been loved by your parents, unless you are obedient to them, they cannot bestow any blessings on you. Today it is a common saying by the children, they are not under anyone, and they are of age, since they are 21. Brethren, this is the cause of trouble in the world today. Nowadays, no child obeys his parents. You should realize, until you obey your parents, you cannot obey God. All disobedient children abide in death, in wretchedness, and destruction. If you do not honor your parents, it does not matter whether you will fast or pray, you cannot be saved. All children who joke with their parents do not love their lives. Write up and spread this gospel all over the world, telling them the cause of troubles, sickness, and death, poverty, and ill luck is the result of the disobedience of children to their parents. You complain, you are worried by mermaid, ghost, witchcraft, these things are not in existence. Your trouble is, you do not obey your parents. You do not want to submit to them. An adage says, the waterman is never greater than the knife. Have you ever seen a servant greater than the master? No matter what you are in the world, your parents are greater than you before God. Have you ever heard, it is the least who should bless the great, or it is the great who should bless the least? All you do to your father is what reflects on you. If you incur the displeasure of your parents, you cannot receive any blessing from them. If you come across any person so blessed, such a person is known to have been very obedient to his parents, and for that reason they blessed him. Now, when you are attending church service, your children will go to play football, visit cinema houses, hotel or disco theater. The most prevalent complaint of parents for the suffering of their children is said to be witchcraft. This is not true. The children suffer because they do not obey their parents. Conduct investigation to find out how many disobedient children receive blessing from God. If you want God's blessing, you should not fail to honor your parents and walk according to their instructions. Many people say they fear God but they do not fear anybody else. This is a very wrong assumption. You have to obey your parents, whether they are poor or incapacitated. Any person who obeys his parents cannot ask them any questions. Who are you to ask your father any questions when he instructs you to do anything? If you should do that, then of course, you must die. Who are you to murmur against your father for giving you instructions? Who are you to be annoyed against your father for advising you? If you should ask any questions, you are inviting death. Whatever your parents ask you to do, you should obey them implicitly, in order to receive God's blessings. You complain, your children do not obey you. Did you obey your parents? When you complain, your children do not look after you or carry out your instructions. Did you obey your parents and carry out their instructions? Did you receive their blessings? Brethren, have you realized why the whole world is cursed? It is because of the disobedience of the children. The whole land is accursed. Do not begin to say no matter how disobedient my children are, provided they live for me, I am happy. God does not accept such a plea. Prayer and fasting cannot set it aside. A child who is disobedient to his parents cannot be submissive to his teacher. A disobedient child can never be submissive to the church nor to the government. Notice, a disobedient child is not only a nuisance but he is also useless. That is why you find that the whole world is filled with prostitutes, vagabonds, bastards, and all other undesirable people. You complain, you suffer, you have to suffer, because you disobey your parents. If you want blessings from your Father, you have to obey Him, whether He is right or wrong, wherever He may be.